Next up, I have Chris Rackl from CSEA with a question about balancing budgets at the state level.
Hi, Congressman. Thank you for doing this. The number one legislative priority for CSEA and AFSCME is that the next CARES Act contain enough unrestricted aid that New York is able to balance its budget. I know you just talked about this a little bit before, but do you support that priority? And if so, what obstacles do you think that the legislation faces? Without that aid, I worry that thousands of public employees could potentially lose their jobs.
Yeah, so Chris, it's a great question. So I'm trying to do and provide leadership in two ways. The first is I've joined forces with a colleague of mine, Ed Perlmutter from Colorado. We serve on the Rules Committee together. We've introduced legislation that would allocate $1,000 per resident of each state for the purpose of providing unrestricted aid to the state. So that would be $330 billion. And of that allocation, about $19 billion would go to the state of New York. That would be unrestricted. It wouldn't relate to how much money had been spent during the crisis or directly related to the crisis. But to your point, revenues are so in such decline. And in New York, it's even more sensitive at the state level than it is typically at the county levels or city levels, because they're one of their big revenue streams is property taxes. So you hope that that will be less sensitive to the economy. Whereas the state is obviously all state income tax, it's state sales tax, it's a lot of fees associated with economic activity. So the governor estimates 10 billion. I have no reason to doubt that number. So if we were to pass our bill or anything like it, it would give a huge shot in the arm to the state. And then what I think you're able to do is to go back to school districts, to local governments, and to be able to make good on your commitment to fund those things. So that's number one. Number two, the other bill I mentioned was to allow additional dollars to go to the county governments in the sense that they would be able to qualify now their lost revenue as an expense. Obviously for CSEA, that's a big deal for a lot of local governments. I'm also working as another colleague of mine, actually also happens to be from Colorado, Joe Neguse, who's introduced a bill that would allow direct funding to communities of less than 500,000, because that was, for some reason, what McConnell and the Senate Republicans insisted on the last CARES Act. And of course, there aren't that many cities of more than 500,000. In New York, there's just one. So those are things we are working on, and we're really, really concerned about government workers. We're worried about the ability to get government work done. So we're going to make that a priority. And the speaker, just in the call I was just on, reiterated that it will be a priority of the House Democrats.
Great, thank you so much.